Hey everybody, this is Jo here in my Houston, Texas garden. I'm in zone 9A and I am taking a look at my front garden here at the end of June. So this is the flower bed that I extended this year from about here forward and added mostly native plants. I think everything that I added was native plants, except I grew some zinnias from seed. And then other things I moved around were non-native plants. So I want to show you, unsurprisingly, that the native plants, the native Texas plants, are the plants that are doing really well. Our heat index today was 118. And the actual temperature got up to, I think, 102. In our yard, we have a little weather station that you can actually maybe even see right back there on the back of that fence. We have our little weather station. So this gets about half a day's sun or a little more. And so I'm just gonna let me start at this end and show you things that are doing well and show you which things are the native plants. So this is Yarrow that looks beautiful. This has stopped blooming on this edge. This is white, and I think that is a native Yarrow. This is a cultivar or a nativar, and it looks a little crispy, but it's giving a few little blooms, and I think it's really pretty. One of the stalwarts of the summer garden here are these huge pentas, and it's in a little bit of a wane here. I've got lots of buds on it here, but you can see they're just such beautiful flowers. And this year this got frozen down pretty hard, and I added some more, and so you can see this one has a lot better shape. These are identical plants, but look how big that leaf is compared to these little pitiful leaves. So I'm not sure, maybe I need to water this one more or give it some more fertilizer or something. I don't think I've fertilized these out here at all this year, but it's a great plant and it will last until frost. And in Houston, it will overwinter. I've already done a little bit of a Chelsea chop. I've been away from the garden for a couple of weeks, and I am getting ready to be away from the garden fairly soon. And so I've done a Chelsea chop on, this is a Salvia called Mystic Spires, but then there's this little tall one in here called Salvia farinaceae, which is native. And if you look really quick, right up here is a tiny baby Anole lizard. Let's see if I can get close enough. Hey buddy, what you doing? You're so tiny. Whoop. So I've got some roses in here that are not really performing in this kind of heat. Of course, I've got zinnias, which are doing great. But in addition to this little Salvia farinaceae, which is native, and it's just sort of mixed in with the Mystic Spires. I had a bunch, I got rid of it, not realizing how much I wanted to try to rely on natives. And so I found a few left over, so I left them in. But this, back here, this is Walter's Viburnum. I've got 3 of them. And they look, let me climb back in here. They are looking really great. Now I've turned the sprinklers on one time since Thanksgiving. And so this has not gotten really any extra water except for a couple weeks ago when I was out of town, and we went ahead and set it off. But it's setting some little flowers starting to come back. And then down here, I've got that native milkweed that I grew from seed, and it's really kind of finally getting established there. But then this is, the cleomes were much further behind. I've already pulled, I think, all of them out now in the backyard. These are getting ready to go, but you can see they're pretty ratty, non-native compared to native, green and happy. Oh, and see, this has got little, this is another one of those Walter's Viburnums. It's got little sort of berry looking things. I'd be interested to see if any creatures eat those. Now, this is that fantastic Agastache Tutti Frutti. Last year it was a stunner, and this year it hasn't gotten very tall. I think it got hot so fast, and I didn't get them in the ground early enough. So I'm not sure how long that's gonna last for us. And then of course these zinnias, they're always the plant is always kind of a mess, but I've got lots of pretty zinnias that the butterflies are still really enjoying. This one, I'm not sure the names. Isn't that cute? Look how cute that one is. I just love that. Now, the next native I'm going to show you is a dwarf Barbados cherry, which again looks gorgeous. Has not had any supplemental water except for the one time. Where's the third one? Over there. The one time I set the sprinklers off while I was out of town. And I thought I even saw, oh, it was on this one over here. Let me climb through. It's even blooming. Look at those sweet little blooms. Aren't they sweet? I just love those. Now, this incredible thing here, let me step back out of the flower bed. So, of course, these are a nativar. This is a powwow wildberry coneflower, echinacea. But echinacea is a native plant to Texas. And then this thing, look at this. This is Gora, and that is a native Texas plant. I have already trimmed it back once, just sort of the top. And it's really starting to go again. Look at that sweet little flower. And I'm so excited to know that that is a native plant. Here's my little experiment. This is Salvia leucantha, which is native to really Mexico. Lots of people call it a native Texas plant. I always have. Apparently, it's more Mexico than Texas, but this is a dwarf variety, and so I'm kind of seeing how it's doing. This is its first year here. I've got another one back there that I've been keeping clipped back. That is the native variety and not a nativar. And then here I've got a blue mist flower, which is native to Texas and is a favorite of butterflies. And then more coneflower. This is the pretty parasols. Just kind of getting started here. These are new plants this year, not very big. This is that blue-eyed grass. I planted a lot of it and it has not been happy. Some of it's still alive, but I'm not counting my chickens on that one. It's not very happy. Then these three are that pink Gulf muley grass, which is native, and a few of them, of course these are new this year, have an inflorescences starting, and they're really pretty. So those will be, in the next year, will be fantastic. Right now they're just kind of getting started. This one's really starting to look good and stand up for us. And then back here, this is porterweed, which is a native plant to Texas. And oh my goodness, okay, look how sweet the little flowers are. And they're on these really cool spikes. They are underneath, let me stand back and show you. They are underneath this whopping crepe myrtle. So they're getting a lot of shade, which I think they are probably grateful for in this kind of heat. But all of that is that porterweed. And I've got it in purple, but I just saw some at the garden center a couple weeks ago in a hot pink, which I didn't realize it came in pink. So again, doing so well compared to, the zinnias are doing well. A lot of them are doing well, but a lot of them, are really feeling it in the heat, right? And so next to this, which is just, native plants, this is a reason right here to grow them. Here's that Salvia leucantha again. And then this is the Mystic Spires, which I'm kind of chopping the middle out. It's about ready for its Chelsea chop. but I'm trying not to cut down everything at the same time because I want to leave things for the pollinators. And so I've kind of Chelsea chopped the middle out and left this, you can kind of see it from the street. And then another one of those fantastic pentas, which I've got some in the backyard. I bought a darker pink and I really thought I liked the light pink better, but gosh, they look fantastic back there in the back. And then the middle of my Cape plumbago, died. You can see the remains, but it's got little babies all around it, and so it's not as vigorous as it was last year, but it's holding its own. And the roses are kind of quit blooming for now. This is a mutabilis. It's got a few little buds on it, but mostly it's sort of flagging in the heat. And then this is fragrant mist flower. I'm not sure it's getting enough sun back here. It hasn't bloomed yet. I bought it just as a little plant, and that's native. And then back here I've got the lyre leaf sage, which has bloomed. It's already given up. It's already finished blooming. These are spent flowers, but that's blue, a really pretty blue. And then my magnolias are getting really big. And I've got some peppers. Look at all these. This is crazy. These are poblano peppers, and I'm so excited about those. This is cantaloupe, which I'll show you. Big cantaloupe in a minute. That's actually planted in the back. And then this is a new plant. I try not to plant things when it gets too hot, and I always regret it when I do. This is a senna. It's a common senna. It is not native to Texas, but it hosts a bunch of butterflies I like to see in my yard, and so that's why I bought it. And it is a tree. I'm going to keep it trimmed as more of a bush, but I've never grown it before, so we'll see what happens to that. This is I've got a bunch of zucchini, and I keep getting flowers and no fruit. And so I pulled one big one out, and now I've got a couple of them dotted around the yard. There's another one there. This is that wonderful native wax myrtle, and it looks like it's pretty happy where we planted it a couple of months ago. Look at my cantaloupe, you guys. Y'all, look how big it is. I'm so excited. I'm about to pop. These are native ferns. I can never remember the name of these ferns. I don't know why this one is so much bigger than those two. But again, it's not getting any extra water back here, and they're pretty happy under this shade. Here's another zucchini, which I've yet to see any zucchini on. You can see my clippings. This is the oak leaf hydrangea, which I think still looks really pretty. And look how pretty. They've just got all pale, dusty pink on the outside, and that pale sort of greenish yellow on the middle, on the inside. And this is, again, it's a native plant. It has not gotten extra water. And I'm going to stand back and show you. Look at that whole bush. It is a great looking plant, and this is the first year for it. I think that's only been in the ground since February or March. So I mean, it is really it's really holding its own. I'm super happy. In the backyard, the flowers have already faded and I've clipped them off, but up here they've just stayed pretty. So another native plant for the win, right? And this tree is not getting extra. And I'll admit that's a new tree, and I have watered that maybe once or twice this summer. I've given it extra water just because it's a new tree, and I didn't want it to be too distressed. Now I've got my agapanthus back here. It did fairly well. It was kind of gone when it bloomed. It did fairly well. Here's that porterweed again, which I'm really liking. I like it so much, I'm kind of thinking I might need a pink one. And then I've done the Chelsea chop on the Salvia leucantha. And then I think I've pretty much shown you everything. And a little grass. This is called bunnytail grass, something like that. I don't think it's a native plant, but I don't really know. I haven't looked it up. I bought it because it was so pretty I couldn't stop myself. And so that was a snap decision before I really tried to focus on native plants. So I thought, I would show you. Some of it looks really pretty, some of it's kind of ratty. I'm getting ready to pull all this out. I left it in because I wanted to sort of show you the difference between, when it's 100 degrees out here, and it's been 100 degrees for a week or 10 days now, that, some things will last and they're still kind of pretty, like this cleome. But the things that look fantastic, that have needed no care at all, are the native Texas plants. And so I encourage you to incorporate some native plants from wherever you are into your garden. It helps support the wildlife and the ecosystem of the creatures and the insects that are already where you are. All right, let me climb back over here. I'll end on this pretty, I'm in love with this oak leaf hydrangea. I hope you guys have had a great couple of weeks. I have loved seeing other people's videos, and I have loved reading your sweet comments. I hope it cools off where you are. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.